We're doing our preview of the Melbourne Cup this year, and we've got a special guest with the pots. We've got Nick Noonan who joins us. Welcome, Nick.
Welcome again, Nick.
Boys.
It's great to have you on.
Good to be here.
We like our viewers, if they're going to be copping tips off someone, we like them to know who they're listening to. So I'm sure they'll, hopefully we've got a few younger viewers, Guppy, and they'll be, keen to get the views of someone a bit fresher than us. As we know, like when we were Nick's age, we had probably a different way of doing the form. We're probably a lot more optimistic in general.
Yes.
Which I think is a good thing. They're sort of beaten up, knocked around, and cynical like we are. So let's get a new optimistic view on the racing world.
You're spot on with one thing there, Potts. It's not hard to be fresher than you are, right? Because I'm not fresh at all. Nick, you've had a long involvement in the game, I believe.
My whole life, pretty much. Grew up in a racing stable. Dad's a horse trainer, David Noonan, and from a young age I can just remember heading out to the stables, loving the race horses, loving the game. Don't know how old I was when I went to my first race meeting, but my mum said I was still in the pram and not far out of hospital. So it's been an industry I've always loved, and especially the last few years I've grown up, and now 17 years old I left school because I thought that wasn't for me, and now I work as a cameraman at the races for Thoroughbred Racing Productions, and really love doing that. You go to the races, you film them, you get paid to watch them. So look, it's a real interesting industry, and I think there's a lot of benefits to the industry, there's a lot of things that can really help you out in life, and a lot of pathways.
Nick's one of the few, for the people that don't know, Nick's one of the few blokes that I know that actually goes to the races more often than I do. So
this is a pretty good effort for a young man who's only 17. There'll be people out there saying, how on earth did you get a job with TRP at your tender age? So how did that happen?
Well, my brother, he actually was the cameraman for TRP, and now he's sort of moved on to, he's a producer now for racing.com there.
Trav?
That's Trav, yeah, and he's also a race caller, so a few of you might know him. Stepped in a few times at Matoa there when Rick McIntosh lost his voice a few years back, and he's actually calling on Tuesday at Bairnsdale as well.
Oh, is he?
So he got
that's where I was last year.
So just sort of following that by him, he had the job there, and then they said we're looking for some more blokes, and was really interested in the horse side for a while. Was strapping a lot of my dad's horses, and they had a camera in the mounting yard, and they needed someone to spot the cameraman. So that's just pretty much how I got in there. So knowing stuff about the horses and also looking at the form, I think it gives you a bit of an advantage, because a horse might run poorly, but you can put it down to a bit more than it's just had a poor run. There might be more excuses to that. It could have just pulled a shoe in the run or something, and it just won't go, or things like that. I like to take a bit of a different angle on it, but how fit they are on the yard, my dad taught me a lot of stuff about that, and taught me how to tell when a horse is lame. So
what are you willing to share some of your insights there about what to look for horses in the parade?
Yeah, just horses I really like to look for, like horses like Darren Weir's horses. They're always rock hard fit, and I know there was one the other day in the Horsham Cup, I think it was Hale Serrano or whatever, watching on racing.com, and it was only second up in Australia, but it was so rock hard fit. It didn't go much good, but it needs more ground. But just things like that I like to look for, and for horses looking to grace in the yard, and especially in their coat. And then it's a bit hard to tell on race day whether they're a bit jarry and behind or whatever, but I don't think I'm that good of a judge yet. But just little things like that, and like doing a lot of my form. Obviously can't bet, so there's probably not much reward in winning it, but look, I really like just getting stuck in doing the form on a Wednesday when it comes out, and have my own radio show there on KC Radio 97.7 FM. Give that a little plug, I suppose.
That's what I was about to mention next. Nico is like me, he's got a passion for the picnic races as well. You guys do a OB at all the Balneary meetings, don't you?
Yeah, this Saturday I think they're going down there, Emirates Stakes Day, and all the Balneary meetings, and we're trying to branch out a bit and maybe get a few contacts as well, a few more people to come on board. So Bryce Sheeshot on the team down there at KC Radio. So just a real passion for racing, and as I said, doing my racing show, just learning the ways of the game, getting guests on, seeing what they have to say about their horses. Had Ember Jusovic on the other day about O'Malley, and he was telling us on the show that he was just going to win that race, came out and won there at Moonee Valley. So things like that I really like to look for, and it was really good to see a horse like O'Malley to come out and win. And then when you've had him on the show, it gives you a bit of a reward, I suppose, a bit of a, as I said, a reward, because you've got him on, and then you've he's told the listeners or whatever that it's going to run well, it gives you a bit of confidence. I don't know the word I'm looking for.
It just gives you a bit of a kick on, doesn't it? It just makes sure that, and it just makes you reassured that you are actually doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. So
to our viewers out there, particularly the young ones, so Nick's just given us some great insights there about trainer intent and when their horses are right and stuff like that, and particularly talking about the parade with the weir runners. I'd say if you want to see how you want to see horses parade, watch the weir runners. 90% of them at least.
Yep.
They walk in a very relaxed fashion.
Yep.
A lot of rhythm, and it's unusual for his horses to sweat up, particularly behind. It's if you see that, it means they're not at their top.
Yep.
But you don't see horses parade better than the weir horses parade. Like they can have some coat issues, but that's usually about where they are, particularly if they're at Ballarat and stuff. But I'm more talking about just the way they walk.
Yeah.
You very rarely see weir runners prancing about, doing they don't. And the sideways thing and up on their toes and all that sort of business. Because they've worked hard and they come into the races really well prepared, they rarely have that kind of freshness in them. So that's the. If you want to find horses from the yard that are going to hit the line strongly, you want to see that relaxed type walking and not that up on your toes prancing, wasting a lot of energy in the parade ring. So,
Mick, what's a sort of normal day for you then, work wise?
At the moment, I think I work about 3 to 4 days a week for TRP, and then say on a Wednesday I might be working at Sounddown, whatever, and shooting in the stewards towers, and then in between the races I'll be doing the form and things like that, and then on the Thursday I have my racing show, which is pre-recorded on the Thursday night, so usually spend all day Thursday just doing the form for Saturday and trying to get interviews for my show and things like that. Friday night usually at Cranny or Moonee Valley, and then backing up on the Saturday. So yeah, it's a bit of an intense sort of last period of the week. From Wednesday you're looking at the races, the markets come out Wednesday night, you're always assessing them, seeing which runners you think have been marked the wrong prices and which ones you think that your listeners or whatever can get a reward on. So yeah, it's as I said, later in the week it's a bit hectic, but on Monday night still play basketball, played footy in last season, on the Sunday, so still live a pretty normal life, but always looking at the form every day and things like that.
So you mentioned before that you're from a racing family. Your dad's David Noonan. So so you've have to pardon my ignorance, but are you any relation to Tony Noonan?
Not that I know of, but know the family pretty well. I think we sold a house in Mornington and they brought it. So
wow.
It's funny, but get asked that a lot, especially when you live in Mornington, and all my teachers at school are like, "Oh, are you Tony's son?" And, especially when Dad trained in stall, no one really knew that from down my way that he was still training and all that. But he's come back down to Mornington now, and he's trained a few winners. I think we had Balloon Region not too long ago at Sounddown, so stable's sticking along all right. And then I always like to go down and help him out when he goes to Cranbourne jump outs and the like. So
how many has he got?
I think he's got about 10 in work at the moment, and he also runs Tarkoola Stud down there.
Right.
So have a fair few mares there, and that's pretty hectic for him. So it's a nice little place, and we're ticking along all right. And as I said, we had the city winner not too long ago, so the stable's going well.
You mentioned the jump outs there at Cranbourne. Are they the ones that we know the horses in, or the other ones?
No, they're definitely the ones we don't know the horses in. It's a bit frustrating, but that's. As you guys have said on the show before, it's the club issue, and they're trying things to get it resolved, but it's just not quite getting there at the moment.
So next week, or probably sometime this week, I'm going to go and have a listen to the show you're doing, Nick. So where can I find it? You've already mentioned it, but where can I find it and what time?
We're on Twitter at The Racing Show, and we also have a website where I post previews and that of the Saturday racing, and 97.7 FM. It's a local station, KC Radio, but you can listen online and tune in radio and the like. And 8 AM on a Friday morning, so pretty prime time slot for a racing show, I'd say. And just trying to get some key trainers, especially from the local area, because it's a local radio show, and giving the punters some insight into the race day on Saturdays. So
you can hear some trainer interviews, some that type of information, and also your thoughts on horses that you think might be over the odds, and
exactly.
It's good stuff.
Changes up a bit every week. You're sort of producing your own show. You can do what you want, but really like to get the local trainers on, and had a few jockeys on before. So my brother started up the show, and we had a few more blokes that we do now. I think there's only 2 of us at the moment that are kicking along. Me and a bloke called Tim Gill, who helps me out with the news segments. But yeah, it's kicking along okay, and hopefully we can keep progressing. And really looking forward to the picnic race and getting down to Balnarring and the like and assessing those runners.
Oh, here you go. You know, he's a special guest for you.
If I actually get the chance to go to Balnarring, I'll definitely be joining the boys when I go down there, but I've just got to make sure that...
No one knows more about the picnics than Juppy. I mean, he's the picnics.
I am.
He's at the picnics.
I am at the picnics, and that's normally where I've spent most of my life. But back on your full-time job there, Nick, it's one thing, Potts, that I reckon as, not just as racing fans, but I reckon as sports fans, we take the quality of the product and the pictures that we get for granted. Because when you think about it, the production and the work that goes into it, the talent of these guys, it's just amazing that we get the product that we do. And it's a lot of sports, because it's like, let's face it, I mean, it's a bit easy for us. We just put a tripod up and we film away and we don't have to worry about it. But just seeing what the guys at TRP do go through to make sure that we get the product that we do, it's so involved, and Nick sort of does get shunned around. Sometimes he'll do the stewards, and sometimes you'll get the home. I think you said you were doing the home turn over the weekend.
Yeah, I was on the Tower 2 there at Flemington, so it's right on the home turn. They cut away from the main camera, and then you're on when they come around the bend, and then back into the straights. They cut back to the other main camera, which is the side-on shot of the straight. So yeah, it's an interesting job, and you know, I was feeling the pressure a bit there on Saturday. A lot of people watching your shots. It sort of goes through your mind a bit that you don't really want to stuff up, but as you said, it's you know, the things that these production companies do in sport, and the angles we can get, and how you can replay stuff and things like that. On your Foxtel, you can just rewind stuff, and it's really good, and it's insightful. You know, when you're watching the races, we gave I think there was the trackers details there, racing.com yesterday, and now the sectional data comes through, and you have the steward's vision, the chopper shot. It all helps you when you're doing the form.
So you'd be well placed to, this time of year when we're trying to desperately dig through anywhere we can find some footage of these European runners, to have a look at some of those. And what have been your thoughts looking at some of those European races?
Oh, it's been tough trying to find anywhere to watch them. You know, I think it was Sky Bet or something like that. I found a few replays on there, but you have to be registered in the UK, I think it is, to actually have an account with them. So you can't have one in Australia, but they seem to have all the replays. So that wasn't too helpful. Mainly YouTube for the bigger races. You know, they're Group 1 horses.
They all used to be on YouTube, but last season looks like whoever must own the rights have put a stop to that.
The thing I'll say, I haven't actually gone and freshly watched the replays, because I watched them not long after they happened. At theraces.co.uk and Racing UK, they're the two UK-based sites that broadcast.
You have to register, don't you?
Yeah, but all it's a matter of doing is giving them your email address, and I think that's about it. Like, you don't have to open an account, and then it's just away you go.
I'd say I found all the replays through the Sky Media Centre if you've got a tab account.
Yeah.
So I think most people watching this show have a tab account. So if you click through the tab thing and search the horses, you will find the videos in the Sky Media Centre.
I think this year's Cup made it a bit easier with horses like Bondi Beach and Big Orange returning, Secret Number as well. They've had runs in Australia before, so it's a lot easier to line them up.
I had a look at that. There's 7 horses from last year's field in this year's Cup. One thing I noted when I was watching those European races, that the race callers are just, I mean, honestly, you've got to watch every replay twice, because it takes you that long to identify the runners. When they go through them, so even when there's 4 in the race, you have to almost watch it twice.
Are you suggesting that Nick's brother Travis may consider heading overseas, where he'd be an absolute superstar if he goes to England?
I'm saying our cameramen and our race callers have got 1,000 yards on them. I don't know what it is. Goodness me, really.
I think we do take, as I said before, I think we do take that sort of stuff for granted. The quality of our coverage is very good. Whether
I understand that, I'm probably, not on top of the various media rights that govern these things, but I just think surely racing.com or someone or wherever the VRC should put together a package for punters with all the videos, relevant videos of these overseas horses. I just think it's pretty unfair to put a race on like this and then make punters search high and low, and as you say, it's not easy to find the footage for these horses, and the club that's putting on the race or Racing Victoria, someone should put together that information and provide it for punters.
Well, I'm sure that if this was the Hong Kong International,
Yeah.
you'd be able to go to the Hong Kong Jockey Club site and you'd be able to find all the replays of those horses there. Surely it should just be a reciprocal rights thing, where if like we give them ours and we get theirs and so forth for the replays, like it shouldn't be that hard, but it's probably a lot more complicated than that.
So you do the form, you find horses to rovers. Obviously, we're not going to talk about all the betting you do, but or that you don't. Sorry, you don't do. But
there's a large bust.
Yeah, I think I had my first. Well, Dad put my first bet on when I was about 10. So the wagering side of it, how interested are you in it? And I bet you are you looking forward to your 18th birthday when you can have all the accounts in your own name?
Yeah, very much so. As you said, you were probably about 10, and I can remember going to Great Western races with my dad, and this one will probably go good, and he'll chuck $10 on it for you, and then if it loses, you might have to go out and muck the boxes for the rest of the night. So it's, as you said, probably looking forward to it in a sense, and in it, you're not always going to win, but it'd be good to get a reward for all the hard work you're doing on your form, and even if it's $10 or whatever, it's money's money.
Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure having you join us. Thanks very much for taking the time.
Good luck with that. You're working on Tuesday. Will you be filming?
Working on Tuesday. Same camera on the home turn. So bit of pressure there as well. A couple of million people watching my shot, but
a couple of million.
So if you can't see your horse on the home turn, you know who to hit up for an explanation and go along and have a listen to Nick's show. I'll do so, and I wish you luck with the cup. We haven't quite got through it all yet, but by the time people watch this will be the last part that goes up, and I hope you find the winner of the cup.
So we can get you on Twitter.
Yeah, at Nick Noonan and at the racing show. So on all the social media and all that, but especially at the racing show. If you're looking to listen to the shows, you boys tune in on Tune In Radio, I think it's called, and 97.7 FM.
How'd you go yesterday? Did you tip a winner yesterday?
Actually, I didn't really focus on yesterday. I was really focused on the Cup for most of the week. But Cox Plate Day, we had an okay day, and Caulfield Cup Day was pretty good.
So what were the highlights on Cox Plate Day?
Well, we were with Winks, but that was obviously a highlight. That was some sort of win, wasn't it? Yeah. Being on track and seeing that, I think it's the best performance I've ever seen in racing in my lifetime, and probably will be for a long time. So we had an okay day, Cox Plate Day and Caulfield Cup Day. So we're ticking along. I'm trying to think of the winners we had. It's a bit hard to.
Can't remember.
So it feels like a year ago. But,
you're sort of your peer group, your friends. So not necessarily just racing ones, but how many of them were aware of what Winks did and were excited by it?
Very, very limited few.
Yeah.
I was in an equine course down there at Mornington, so there was me and another bloke and about 20 girls in that course. So
see, there's about keeping the odds in your favour, punters.
Yeah, it was only a select few. A few of those girls from that course were going on to be jockeys, and they sort of talked about it, and it was a very select few. I think they're not missing a market because it's probably not there yet, but I don't think they're doing much to get that market in.
So, like your mates from you mentioned that you still play footy and things like that. Your mates from the footy team that wouldn't
know about it. They're sort of the once a year punter type people. They're once a year race goers, once a year race watchers, and that's the Melbourne Cup.
It's disappointing. I mean, there was a sporting moment to make your hair stand up on the back of your neck, and it's the job of the racing administrators to engage with people from Nick's generation, and if you don't do it, they'll all be interested in footy and poker and everything else. They won't give a toss about racing, and we'll all be the poorer for it. So anyway, we need people, young keen beans like Nick to get amongst it, do a show, and maybe through that sort of channel you can reach out to enough of those people, and it can start with that sort of thing.
And the fact Nick did research for the show really sickens me, because it's a lot more than what I've done. We'll be back shortly. Sorry.